Hello, and welcome again to the Creativity Cabinet. I hope that you are all safe and well and staying home, like this says. And for those of you from the future who are watching this 100 years from now, we're going through the COVID-19 epidemic, which is about on the level of, I think, the 1918 flu epidemic. And so we're all having to stay home and not do much of anything. And I'm actually not at home. I'm at my office, but I'm not seeing anybody in my office. I'm just here to film the YouTube videos. So I'm here all by myself. And I only come here once a week. And all the rest of the week, I stay home. But today, I have some really cool Kirkland-inspired DIYs to show you. These were inspired by some things that I saw on Kirkland's website that I thought were really cool, and I managed to kind of sort of reproduce them with Dollar Tree materials, though I took my own spin on some of them. So let's get to making. Okay, the minute I saw those trays on Kirkland's website, I thought Dollar Tree burner covers. So here I am, I've got this 2-pack of burner covers and this wonderful marbled look tissue paper, which is also a Dollar Tree item. So I just traced a cover onto the tissue paper and then cut it out. I cut the circle a little bit smaller so that would fit on the inside of the burner cover, and then I just put a layer of Mod Podge on the inside, put the tissue paper down, and then put a layer of Mod Podge over it. Once the Mod Podge was dry, then I took a dark blue Posca pen and I used that to color in the insides of the edges to give them a nice dark blue color. And I found that the easiest way to do this was I first went over just kind of the middle of those edges, as you see me doing here. And then after I did that, I went and I more carefully did the inside of the edges and then the outside of the edges. I also, at the end, laid the tray back down and from the vantage point of the outside, just did some of the blue on just that outer rim there, though I left the rest of the outside of the tray white. Then I took one of these Dollar Tree wall stickers that are in these beautiful mandala patterns, and I just stuck it onto the middle of the tray. To make the handles of the tray, I used some black wire that I'd gotten from the hardware section of Dollar Tree, some hair beads, some silver hair beads and some wooden-looking hair beads, and some pearls that I'd also gotten from the Dollar Tree. I basically started with a silver bead and strung that onto the wire, and then I turned the wire back over onto itself and then twisted it together to make it stay. Then I added a wooden bead and a pearl, and a wooden bead and a pearl, and a wooden bead and a pearl, and a wooden bead and a pearl.
Can you just do it already?
And a wooden bead and a pearl, and then a wooden bead. And then I added another silver bead. And then again, I twisted the wire over itself, and then twisted it onto itself to make it all stay together. I repeated that process to make a second handle, and then I used my glue gun to glue them to the sides of the tray. I basically just put 2 big globs of glue onto the tray where I wanted them to be, and then I pressed the ends of the handles down into the globs of glue. Then I used my metallic gold pen and I colored over all of the areas that were supposed to be kind of gold on the sticker. They weren't really metallic, so I wanted to make them metallic. Since the pen that I had was not very fine point, you'll see that on some of it looks a little different, but I kind of like that. I wanted this to have a kind of more handmade effect to it, so that it doesn't just look like I'm putting a sticker down. I made a second tray using the second burner cover, and here they are, all finished. I think they turned out really lovely considering how simple they were to make. Okay folks, the minute I saw these trays on Kirkland's website, I immediately thought, oh my god, I can not only do a dupe of this, I could do a 5-minute dupe of this thing. So basically, it was just a matter of, I got these trays at the Dollar Tree, I painted them white with Waverly chalk paint, as you see me doing here. And then, once the paint was dry, it was just a matter of decoupaging some more of that beautiful marbled tissue paper to the bottom of each tray. I'm just using the exact same process that I used when I made the round trays. Just tracing and cutting a piece of tissue paper out, putting a layer of Mod Podge down, and then putting the tissue paper down. I decided with these trays not to put a layer of Mod Podge over the top because my Mod Podge is glossy and I wanted it to have more of a matte finish. One of the things I like about decoupaging with this marbled tissue paper is it's actually pretty forgiving because the design is so abstract and just full of little lines and shapes and everything that any wrinkles that might form, which often happens when you do tissue paper collage with Mod Podge, don't really show very much. And here's the finished trays. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. When I saw these jars on Kirkland's website, I immediately thought, oh, that could be something that I could make from a Talenti gelato jar. By the way, Talenti gelato is delicious if you haven't tried it. It's really, really good. And it comes in these wonderful, wonderful jars. So, I started by taking an empty jar and I painted it white with white Waverly chalk paint from Walmart, and I used a Dollar Tree makeup sponge to apply the paint nice and thickly. Okay, once the paint was dry, wait a minute, I know, you're probably saying, but Christine, why is the jar all blue and white? Well, there's a reason for that, and that was because I was waiting for the thing to dry, and I did a phone session with a client, and while I was on the phone, I was fiddling around with things, not thinking about what I was doing, and I ended up taking my nice, dry, white jar and dropping it over my paint mat, and I got a bunch of blue paint on it. But then I decided, since this is just going to be the base, just to make it look white so that when I put the tissue paper, it'll be just white that shows through, I could probably just continue to put a bunch of blue on there, and it really wouldn't make that much of a difference. So that's what I did. That's why it's blue and white here. And now I'm just decoupaging some more of that wonderful marbled tissue paper onto the jar. I just measured and cut a rectangle that would fit around the jar. I applied Mod Podge and I glued the paper onto the jar. I also decided not to do a second coat of Mod Podge. But what I did do was I noticed that a little bit of the paper was extending over the bottom of the jar, so I just put a little Mod Podge on the bottom, and then I was able to take the brush and bend the little pieces down so that they would go over the bottom edge of the jar. And then I let the jar dry upside down until it was completely dry.
I am creative! Ooh.
For the lid, I used one of these wonderful Dollar Tree wreath charms, that's what they call them. I started by filling that hole with hot glue, so that way it won't show after I paint it. And here you see me doing that there and almost completely burning my fingers while I'm doing it. But I finally did it, and then I gave it a coat of blue acrylic paint. And later on, and I didn't do this on camera, I decided I didn't really care for the shade of blue that I used. So instead, I got out my blue Posca pen, and I went over the lid with the blue Posca pen, and that way it was the same color blue as what I used on the mandala trays. I also colored in the edges with that same blue of the Posca pen, and that made it look pretty nice. Then I took one of these Dollar Tree mandala stickers and I cut it down so that it would fit onto the lid, and just stuck it down. Then I took my gold Posca pen again and I went over all of the gold parts. And then all I had to do was I took a large Dollar Tree pearl and I used hot glue to glue it in the center to make the little knob on the lid. At this point, I felt like the jar needed just a little something more. So what I ended up doing was I just glued pearls all the way around the top part of the jar. I put them right in the little space between the screw-on lines that you have at the top of the jar. I'm just showing you doing a few, but I did them all the way around like that. It was pretty easy to do. All I needed to do was just put down a little blob of glue and stick a pearl into it. And I just kept doing it until I got all the way around the jar. And here's my finished jar. I think it really looks beautiful, and it really goes well with the other pieces in the set. I only made one jar, but you could make multiple jars if you have multiple Talenti gelato jars sitting around, and if you have multiples of the Dollar Tree wreath charms.